Hello and welcome to another winter mountaineering expedition. Getting a bit breezy, I'll have to speak up. I've been on Skye for work the last couple of days, so given that there is snow on the mountains here in Glen Shiel, I thought it would be offensive to the winter mountaineering gods if I didn't park up and pop up the Forcan Ridge. It's been on my to-do list for a while now. It's just it's so far away from Edinburgh where I live, and winter conditions are fickle up here. It can be a bit awkward to get to, but it is a Scottish winter mountaineering classico. The Forcan Ridge, grade 1/2, a bit like Aonach Eagach, but not quite as long or as exposed. Oh, I am not winter fit just yet. I'm basically just going to hike up here, over here, until I find somewhere flat. Up in the col here somewhere, hoping to find somewhere flat to camp, because there's a northerly wind coming in all night, so I'm going to try and get a bit of protection from that. It's getting dark, it's about 4 o'clock. Just going to walk for another half hour or so, find somewhere to camp, hit the ridge in the morning. Conditions are looking pretty sweet tomorrow. Sunny skies, should be a glorious sunrise. So I'll be up at the crack of dawn to capture that. Okay, so you join me here in the tent on what is a pretty cold, quite breezy night up up the side of a mountain in the winter, just in the snow line. I'm basically up on the Forcan Ridge camping out, so I can do the ridge tomorrow. Tomorrow looks like a much better day, so I figured I'd just hike halfway up today, camp on the ridge just in the snow line, and then do like the route tomorrow. Should be a pretty nice morning, should be a pretty epic day on the ridge. I've never done it before. It's one of those legendary ridges that people always lust after in the winter climbing calendar. But yeah, I've always wanted to do it. I was driving past it today because I was working on Skye. I thought, might as well. I've got all my kit in the back, so I stuck my rucksack on, got the tent, came up on to the Forcan Ridge, and it is very cold, very windy. I'd guess it's probably like around freezing, and when you're outside with the wind chill it's probably like -5, -6. It's not the warmest. So I thought I would test out this sleep system that I've recently come up with. I'm hoping this is the answer to my winter mountaineering prayers. I'm very interested in seeing how this setup performs. It was actually the great Andy Kirkpatrick who recommended this in one of his blogs, and he knows a thing or two about surviving in extreme mountain conditions. He said, don't get one big massive 4-season sleeping bag that costs loads and only has basic functionality in the depths of winter. Get 2 bags and combine them, and for about the same weight and probably less bulk, you get the same performance. Less than 2 kilos, hopefully goes down to about -20. That's the hope. If I survive -20, that'll be a good challenge. So there is part of the ridge. You go up here, curve right, along here, loop round left, drop back down to the car. So somewhere up there is the infamous saddle and the bad step. I'm hoping the bad step isn't too scary to down climb, but we'll see when we get there. Not a bad morning, all things considered. That's looking west. I was camped just down here last night, rather beautiful spot when the stars came out. That's looking a bit more east, where the sun has basically come up. You can see by the pinks in the sky, the sun has peaked over the horizon. but the low cloud means we're not seeing much of that. Might get some when we get up here. Epic views if the sun lifts a bit higher and the clouds clear a wee bit, but on we go to the Forcan Ridge. I'm on the ridge now. Stopped to put my crampons on because it's all getting a bit steeper, and I've made that mistake many a time where you don't put your crampons on and suddenly you're on sketchy terrain. So always put your crampons on before you hit the sketchy terrain. But it is quite a beautiful spot. The sun's just popping up over here, just about to pop up behind the hill here, looking over to the Five Sisters of Kintail over there, and then continuing round out north and west, and this is the ridge here. Basically just stick to the middle, pick any line you want. Finally on the summit of Forcan, which obviously is why the Forcan Ridge has its name, the Forcan Ridge. Wisdom. I believe the hardest part of the route is the next there's like a 10-metre down climb. I'm not really looking forward to it because my ice axe isn't very sharp and I'm a bit out of practice. First big winter route of the season, so feeling a bit out of practice both psychologically and physically, but I'll see how it is when we get there. I have noticed there are escape options. I could down climb some of these gullies left and right of me if it was too sketchy for any reason. So good tip when you're on routes like this that you've never done before, always have, well, potential back out options, because you may just come across something that's too sketchy and you just want to bail. So here goes. Bad step. So from above it looks treacherous. You basically start here. For my money, this is the best way down. You start here, you move right over to these featured rocks here. Lots of features to get your axes into. Use that to drop down to just below the rocks, then move back in left to the centre and stay pretty central, coming down through these rock features here, and then sort of once you get down through these rock features, move right, come down there. If you go too far left it's treacherous, too far right it's treacherous. I think sticking fairly central is your best bet, but yeah, definitely trend over to these rocks here, loads of features and hooks for your axes, and then sort of drop onto this wee ledge and trend back into the middle, then trend right again. That's my advice. Not a place to take a slip, but there are worse places on this route to slip off. Oh, very narrow here. I'm essentially just leg either side at times. You do what you gotta do.